Do do do. So yeah,
Hello.
hello.
You all
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
How's the
yeah, yeah.
cat?
Pain in the arse as usual. I love him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Oh well, yeah. I'm just having a cup of tea.
that's nice. I'm having water.
Is it water, not gin?
Yeah, it's pure gin.
Nice,
Nice.
cool.
So
Yeah. So we last time we talked about
the
the
Green
Green
Knight.
Knight, and it inspired us to go back and look at Excalibur,
Yeah.
which we thought was one of the inspirations to that film. We
So,
think,
when you watch it
you
now,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can see it all. Yeah,
Yeah, and we were talking about Arthurian legends and that, weren't we? So it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
thought, well, let's go back and have a look at some of those other sword and sorcery sort of things,
yeah.
or is it sword and sorcery? I don't know,
Well, of course it is got Merlin
but
in it.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
So
like the what I learnt the other day was that I said a French guy wrote the adventures, but it's like it's the romantic bits that he added to it quite late on.
yeah,
But previous to that, it was an English. I think it was an English dude
yeah,
who wrote about. And to be honest, when I look at the movie, the Excalibur movie, I think probably at the time when they wrote it, British Isles was basically tribal, and we were all trying to kill each other, and it was all like tribes against, clans and tribes against each other. And
yeah,
I think it was like one man's wish that like this great king would come and like unite, because they're all fed up with war and poverty and you know what I mean. And so he invented this great. I mean, the king is supposed to be King Arthur's supposed to be like based on about four or five different kings at the time. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? But I think the original writer, I think it was his wish that like I wish like someone would come along like King Arthur and sort this shit out because I'm fed up of fighting the Druids or wherever it is we're supposed to be doing. And then the French dude later on, he added all like Merlin and Morgan Le Fay and all that kind of stuff.
yeah. Oh, interesting. Didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit all over the shop, isn't it? Really, the legends. There's quite a few
Yeah, I think there's a few different ones in
writers.
it. Well, I think I mean, I'm not sure where the original legends come from, but yeah, so there was an English guy, wasn't there, Thomas
Mormont.
Mallory or something,
Yeah.
who did compiled Le Mort d'Arthur, which is obviously
Mm.
French, but he was English.
I think a lot of
14,
people spoke French and English in those
yeah,
days. Yeah.
1485 that was.
Mm.
But yeah, they obviously came from legends before that.
Yeah.
But but yeah, we talked about. I think we were talking last time about the sword. Like where did Excalibur come from? And it's like, was it the sword in the stone? Did it come? How did he get the sword, or did the lady in the lake give it to him?
Yeah.
Which is interesting in watching the movie Excalibur.
Yeah.
It both of those things appear in it.
Mm.
It actually, according to the movie Excalibur
Yeah.
that we watched, it's there's a scene with Merlin is with the Lady of the Lake, and it's just them. So
Mm.
it looks like the Lady of the Lake gives the sword to Merlin. Merlin gives the sword to Uther,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then Uther stabs the sword into the stone.
Yeah.
So how much of that is in the Mort d'Arthur, I don't know because I haven't read it, but yeah,
Yeah.
so they tied up those two stories in quite a neat way there, I suppose.
I,
Really.
I, I think they did, yeah, because I quite like the sword and the stone, and I like the Lady of the Lake. And the fact that the Lady of the Lake is so mysterious. I mean, what is she? Is she a goddess?
I don't know.
What kind of is
It's
she?
it's weird because one of the things throughout that movie, that I kind of forgotten about is the thing about the dragon. Right,
The
there's a
Dragon's
dragon
Breath,
referred to
yeah.
several times, and it's like the dragon is kind of underneath England, and in a way, it reminded me of that book, The Seventh Seal. Do you remember that we used to talk about years ago? Is it The Seventh Seal or The Seven Swords?
Black Alchemist.
Yeah,
Oh,
that thing. You know,
right. There's the Black Alchemist that was written by that guy, and he
Clive
talks
something.
about
Yeah,
but the Seventh Seal, yeah, that was
talk about awake. Yeah, something like it.
there's
You
two
know.
dragons under Wales. One's red, one's white, and they are in a constant battle for dominion over the other.
Yeah.
That's what. Well, I'd have to look that up. Actually, it's been a long time since I read
Yeah.
that, but I thought that was quite an
So,
interesting.
well, like, yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I think I only read that book once years ago or something. But I think it was the thing to me that was just like, there was like the land is a starring character,
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
in the story. You know what I mean? The land itself, and then there's a lot of talk about, and about the king and the land are one. And we talked about that last time in the
yeah, yeah.
Gawain and the Garwin or whatever in the Green Knight, because you see the king towards sort of the end of
Gawain.
his reign, and he's a bit,
What,
yeah, oh what
Gawain?
Wayne, oh what Wayne, and he's a bit, yeah, he's a bit ill, and like, and then the land is ill, so there's
Yeah.
this connection, and that's a big thing in in
Excalibur
Excalibur
as well,
as
yeah.
well. So when the king does sort of have a period where he's sort of waning, what Wayne, uh,
What, Gawain?
what Wayne. He's sort of weighing in the lands, or like all the peasants are outside going, "Please help us," and all that kind of shit. Like, what's the king gonna do? It makes no sense really. But
Yeah, I
but
think they were
but
going
yeah,
on about like a mystical thing.
well, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
thing. But
yeah.
yeah, so it's this interesting. This dragon, they don't really explain it. In Excalibur, apart from that,
No.
there is this dragon somewhere that can be sort of used for whatever purposes or something like that. But it's sort of like a living creature, something to do with the land.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because
but
he
yeah,
says the
it's
dragon's everything, doesn't he? He said it's, the trees, the grass. When he first meets
yeah,
um Arthur, and then he's like sleeping in a tree, and
yeah,
Arthur's a young lad at the time, and he's frightened because there's like strange noises, and there's like an owl, and yeah, snakes
yeah,
for some.
reptiles, yes, things that don't exist in England. Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed that as well. It's quite some big
the
snakes,
great big
lizards, spiny
python.
bearded lizards. Yeah,
Yeah,
which I presume is meant to be sort of, I don't know, just
yeah. They even
evil
have them
stuff.
South American like millipedes that are like a foot long.
Yeah, yeah. So creepy crawlies,
The creep
basically. Yeah,
crawlies, yeah, yeah. Um, I don't know in those days. I mean, we used to have wolves and shit, didn't we? Bulls and things like that, but we never had anything like that. I mean, the only snake we've got is in Scotland, isn't it? It's an adder, but that's
well,
tiny.
we have adders in Cornwall, lots and lots of
Oh,
them.
do
Yeah,
you?
so
Oh,
yeah,
right, right.
there's lots of snakes in England, but they're just not really harmful or something, or
They're not boa constrictors.
really. But yeah, so I don't know who threw that idea into the movie, but I presume it was supposed to represent the sort of exotic magic, or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. They could have used spiders or something, but
Well,
yeah, it did seem a bit incongruous at the time.
yeah. Well, I sort of put it down to like in like some horror movies, and then they go into a room and like the wall to ceiling it's all flies. It's like
Yeah,
it's kind of like um oh God, I can't even speak anymore. Uh, well, decay, decay and
yeah,
corruption. So that because they used all of those things like the snakes, obviously, the great the temptation of
yeah. The serpents, all that.
yeah, serpents and yeah. So I think like decay and stuff like that, and he was frightened, and but like Merlin said, it's all the dragon. Everything's a
Yeah.
dragon. Yeah.
So yeah, again, they just refer to it sort of later on when he's having his to do with Morgana Le Fay,
Mm.
sort of towards the end of the movie. Um, they talk about the dragon, and in fact, I think he sort of he tricks her into invoking the dragon or something, doesn't he? Which
Oh, right at the end. Yeah,
causes a
yeah,
problem
yeah.
with her. Which I don't think again that her sort of end. Well, I mean, are we just trying to think? This is all spoilers again, isn't it? It doesn't matter. But yeah, but her sort of death there, if you like, where she sort of invokes the dragon's breath or something. For what reason, it's not really quite sure. He just, I think he tricks her into it, doing it by vanity.
Mm.
But for some reason, it destroys her beauty. I'm not quite sure where that came from because I don't think that's not in the legends. In the legends,
No.
Morgana survives, and she actually takes Arthur. They reconcile, in fact, and when
Huh.
Arthur does actually become mortally wounded at the Battle of Camfell or Camnell or something, as indeed is depicted in the movie, she actually accompanies him to Avalon. She goes
Oh,
with him. It's something like that, which is kind of sweet,
that's
really.
kind of interesting.
So they
Yeah.
do have this sort of, this terrible sort of rivalry, things like that, and stuff like that. But in the end, they do sort of kind of reconcile, which is sort of odd, not depicted in this movie.
No.
Yeah, she turns into an old woman, and then her son comes along, lamps her, like she just goes, "My son," and he just takes one look at her and goes, "Oof," like that, and then fucking
It strangles
throws her,
her. Yeah,
and then
yeah,
that's it. He just walks off,
yeah.
which I thought, yeah, was kind of bloody weird. I thought, but a
Well,
strange
it
way
would
to
be
do it.
weird
Maybe they,
to.
yeah,
Well, I mean, Well, the way I sort of saw it was that she'd kept her beauty and her looks through magic, because everyone
yeah,
else had got older. Arthur was a lot older,
it's
and
true, yeah,
yeah, so she was still, looking like she's in her 20s, and when Merlin first did the dragon's breath for Uther to go and rape Igraine, um, pretty much,
yeah.
and knock her up. Um, he had to sleep for 9 months because
They
like
said
it
9 moons, didn't they?
nine
Yeah, I didn't
moons,
quite.
yeah.
I wasn't sure what he meant by 9 months. Yeah, so
I guess,
um,
yeah, more or less, give or take a moon. But
yeah,
yeah. So it really hurt him, and that's what I really liked about it. Actually, he said he didn't do the magic all the time because like it's a big cost to
yeah,
him. Like it really takes it out of you. So she's been going along all these years, so like 40 years, keeping a youth together with magic, and then he gets her to do the dragon's breath, and yeah, she just that takes her out of her, so she
yeah,
becomes what age she's supposed to be. Although she was very crone like. Do
yeah.
you know what
A
I
lot older
mean?
than Arthur looked, yeah, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And
It's
what's
interesting.
Merlin up to? He hasn't changed, has he? I know he's been locked
No,
up in a bit of ice, but
well, they sort of they talk about Merlin as like he's not a man, like, and it's kind of interesting that like what is he
yeah,
then?
yeah.
They don't really talk, they don't really. I don't think
Well, he says at
they
one
don't really
point.
talk about it, but
He says at one point when um he was talking to Arthur, and he says, "Oh, there's other worlds. This world's
yeah,
done with me. I'll just go somewhere else," kind of thing.
yeah,
And then Morgana Le Fay says to him a bit later on, um, "Where you going?" And he said, "Whence I came." So it's like
yeah.
he is from another like dimension or something, another world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, doesn't he sort of take her? He takes her to that place, and he says from whence I came, and she follows him, and they're all of a sudden in this fucking cave or
Mm.
something like that, and you kind of think, oh, is this where he's sort of? You're not quite sure how they get there. They're just all of a
Maybe he
sudden
came out of
there,
a geode.
and
You know
it's
what I
yeah,
mean? Like just
exactly. But he's sort of seeing things happening and stuff like that. So some kind of strange
yeah.
dimension or something. It's interesting because
Mm.
I was looking at because Helen Mirren was actually 36 when she made that
No.
movie. Yeah, because I was kind of always under the impression that she was like 20 or something,
Yeah, yeah, me
but
too.
she wasn't. She was 36 because that movie was made in 1981. She was born in 1945. She's like 75, 76,
God, yeah.
which was a bit of a surprise to me because I read something about. Um, so the director of the movie, Jon Boorman, who's quite a
Yeah.
famous director or something, really, he cast Helen Mirren and Nicole Williamson, who plays Merlin.
Mhm.
Right, so the guy who plays Merlin, Nicole Williamson, was a very famous dude and very respected dude on stage in the
Right.
60s and 70s. In fact, they called him one of the finest actors of the stage or something like
Yeah.
that, right? Didn't do that much movies, which is why probably most of us don't really know him. But apparently, Nicole Williamson and Helen Mirren had starred in a stage production of Macbeth together 7 years prior to the making of Excalibur,
Right.
and really didn't get on and had some kind of major falling out
Huh.
during this production. So they really didn't like each other, and the director cast them both for that reason because he was thinking they would have this personal animosity would somehow come out on screen, which I don't
Yeah.
know if it does. I don't really think, but I mean, just an interesting way. What that the director sort of made that decision. Two actors who don't like each other in real life,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it really does,
I don't
sort
think
of
so.
come
Well, I
across like
didn't
that. But
notice it. I didn't. I mean,
no,
like,
and I
she's kind of like weird. She's trying to get information out of him, isn't she? So she's weird. She
yeah,
knows that she's good looking and he fancies her. Um, but she's trying to leverage that for more information and more
yeah.
power. But I never got the sense that they hated each other at all.
No, no, exactly. There was quite the opposite, really, in a way, because it's like Merlin is sort of obviously very alone, because he's not a man. He's some kind of magical thing,
Yeah,
and obviously there's only everything else is just men, men and women, pissing about.
and he's been
But
around
yeah,
a
but
long
also
time.
probably
Yeah.
that they were just very professional. One of the major things I took from that movie, and I haven't seen that for years. It's
Mm.
the first time I've seen it since for a very long time, over 20 years, I think. And is that pretty much every actor in that movie is a stage actor.
Oh
They're all
yeah.
from the stage, every single one. You've got Patrick Stewart, obviously, Corinne Redgrave. They're all, Nicole Williamson, all of them. They're all massive stage actors, like all of them. And the whole thing, you can tell, they're all like, ah, as actors, stage actors do, And I
Yeah.
presume he's done that to to give the movie, a sort of Shakespearean sort of gravitas,
Yeah, it certainly has
maybe,
that.
and it
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah.
does. But also that means most of those people are pretty strict. They're pretty professional stage actors and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, they're trained, aren't they?
personal animosities probably wouldn't come across,
No. I,
in like a director's sort of attempt at, sneaking out some sort of division there. But I don't know.
yeah. I mean, she was 36 as well. She's been around. Do you know what I mean? She's probably done loads and loads of
Yeah,
productions and stuff like that. So she's not gonna, plus
yeah.
it's an opportunity to break into film.
Yeah,
Um,
well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because she said it was her first film, and again, that surprised me that it was her first film at at that age. Um,
yeah, well, I just
which
assumed
is,
she was like 20 or something.
yeah, me too. I mean, because she looks
Uh,
great in that, but yeah, no, apparently so. But I mean, even that, but the fact that there's these quite hammy actors, there is quite a lot of not bad acting, but hammy acting.
yeah, I thought
There
Patrick
is.
Stewart needed to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, see, but I
He's
think
really over
pretty
the
much
top.
all of them, pretty much everyone has at least a couple of sort of not cringy. I mean, even Helen Mirren, a lot of it is very, just
Well, it's
on the cusp
theatrical,
of
isn't
bad.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I think that's
yeah.
it. Stuff that maybe works better on the stage. But I mean, there was nothing really bad. But even like Arthur, when he first turns up, he's just sort of like,
He's
you
clearly
know,
not
it's just
15.
people don't talk. Yeah, he's clearly not 15. But he pulls the sword out of the stone, doesn't he? And everyone just drops to their knees because, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
it's just fucking odd reaction anyway. And then he's like, "Rise, father! I was your son before I was your king." No one talks like that. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
his weird sort of West Country accent. I think when I was a kid and I saw that movie, I was really, I think I was excited to see it, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Partly because of that sort of weird. I remember the accents for some reason when I watched this years ago. I remember Merlin sort of has a really weird voice because he sort of occasionally talks like that.
Yeah, yeah, he's very odd.
It's just really
Yeah.
sort of like out of nowhere, sort of he talks weirdly.
Yeah, totally like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of weird. But then, I don't know. I think it's just because when you're a kid, I don't know. At that time, I was really into sort of be Star Wars and stuff like that. It's
Right.
lightsabers and things like that. And then all of a sudden, you see this movie, and it's kind of, although it's pretty grand,
Mm,
it's there's no spaceships, there's no lasers, there's all these it's full of toffs.
mm.
The whole thing's full of sort of like toffs and things like that. And I remember at the time being quite confused by the movie, and I didn't really quite get it.
Yeah.
But I was surprised how much I remembered. To
Hmm.
be honest, how much of it sort of
Yeah.
came back to me.
Yeah, I don't think I remembered it at all. I remember sort of I think I probably watched it too young, like you, and
Yeah,
it just didn't really sort of make a lot of sense. But seeing it now, there's a lot more magic in it than I remember. The, what else? There was, yeah, I don't remember all of those actors being in it as well. I mean, like Liam Neeson and
yeah. See, Liam Neeson's pretty bad in it. I
yeah,
thought kind of like really bad.
yeah. It's like he
His
doesn't know where
acting's
he
terrible.
is.
And,
Yeah,
and the weird and very, very peculiarly, Liam Neeson's character is Gawain.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, which I didn't realise at the time, and he's just like this sort of brutish thicko. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? And like it's kind of,
Not at all
which is
like Dev
not at all
Patel.
like Dev Patel. It was
Yeah,
much nicer, you
yeah,
know. But
yeah,
yeah, he was just like this sort of bit of a thug, really, and like troublemaking, causing all that shit.
yeah,
Grassing up the Queen and Lancelot's little tryst,
yeah. And
all that kind of stuff.
they hadn't even,
No,
you know,
no. Although people were talking about it, weren't they? But
yeah, yeah, yeah. She
yeah, so
was
it was,
innocent at the time,
yeah.
but yeah,
Sherry Lungi, yeah,
Sherry Lungi, yeah.
Sherry Lungi.
She must have
Um,
been young in that. She looks really young. Um, but yeah, there was a lot more magic in it. Um, I think the first time I saw it, I didn't like Merlin the first time I saw
no,
it, but
yeah,
I liked him this time. But he did have a couple of unnecessary comedy moments where he fell in the river
I
um,
remember that. Yeah,
and Percival sort of knocks into him or something, and it's like, oh, it's just like, oh, please. Do you know
I
what
don't know.
I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because I remember while I was watching that, because I only watched it this morning, but like it was interesting. Like, in a way, I was thinking, is there deeper meaning to all that? Like, is everything he does? Because they're on a battlefield or something, and Arthur's like, "What do we do?" And he's standing there trying to tickle a trout. He's
Oh
trying to pick up a
yeah.
fish. I think it's the same thing where he falls over, and I'm like, is there a meaning here? Because like clearly Merlin doesn't really do anything that hasn't got some sort of meaning. And I'm like, is he, what's he doing
Oh,
with
he
the
says
trout?
something straight
And then he
after
just
it.
picks,
There's
but yeah, he
always
picks,
someone more clever than you, or something like that. He
yeah. And I was
says,
like, what does that mean? The fish is clever than you? Because the fish gets away and he fucking,
falls
comedy falls
over.
over into the water. Um, but again, even though, I still don't really quite understand what that was supposed to mean, I was kind of quite sucked in. I was actually
Mm.
kind of, I was actually really sort of enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah, I
Like,
liked it. I
and it was
did. I did
much,
like it.
much better than I
Yeah.
remembered. And like, it was, oh yeah, I was really into it, I must say. And like, there's, it's weird because the guy who made all the armor for that movie. He's
Oh,
a very,
is it
very
Terry
famous
English?
Terry English, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's a very sort of famous dude down where I'm from in Cornwall because he lives very close to where I live, where I'm from. And when I was a kid, he had. There used to be a place in Hale, where I'm from in Cornwall, called the Excalibur's Meadery, and it was like you used to go there and have like your half a chicken on like a wooden plate and drink mead.
Mm.
Right, it's a meadery, right? You go there to get.
That stuff's
Basically, it's a fucking
rocket
restaurant, right?
fuel, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, but you go there to get pissed and stuff, and things like that. But they used to have like sort of serving people dressed almost as serving wench type shits because I knew a few people at school who did that. But that was at least partly owned by Terry English, and the whole
Mm.
place was decked out in, it was Excalibur's Meadery, so it had all this genuine armor, and like that was it, that was the guy's job and still is, as far as I'm concerned. I think he is still alive,
Yeah, yeah.
but he just, and you think how much there was in that movie, and he made all of that crap, and so it's metal, but
Mm.
nowadays, if you see movies and they have armor in it, it's plastic because it's
Yeah.
too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see the way they fight in Excalibur, it's one of the things that you go, oh, well,
It's
not
just pretty
but
much that.
it's just heavy. It's
Yeah,
just so heavy and also fucking dangerous.
I
Like
know.
they're
Yeah.
clearly being quite careful because these swords are fucking real, and the axes, and the fucking mace, you think,
Yeah.
imagine getting hit by one of them in real life. You'd be fucking just
Cudgel.
bang,
Yeah.
just done in one go.
Well,
So, but
I mean, it
that's,
kind of the battle scenes did kind of look like a bunch of men just sort of staggering around, and if they get a hit
yeah,
in, do you know what I mean? It was like, woo, I managed to hit you
yeah.
there.
Well,
Yeah. So
I think a lot of that is, it's like, this is seriously dangerous. Every time, like they're on a horse and one of them draws their sword like that, I was just like, you're going to cut the fucking horse's ears off, man.
yeah.
Like, because it's a real bloody sword, whereas not the
or
sort of light fiberglass things that people just whiz around with nowadays. That's just like, but I really kind of liked that aspect of it.
yeah.
Even though it made the fight scenes a bit clunky, and they were quite clunky. You could see people in the background, and there was like sort of dozens of people fighting all at the same time. So it was quite a big, production. But you could see people in the background just sort of like, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
like that, because it's
Yeah.
like really dangerous. There was one scene then where Arthur jumps from like the top of the castle wall
Oh
and
yeah.
lands on that fellow and pulls him into the water. Like, I mean, they'd all be dead. And like they do that. He must have just jumped off a step ladder, grabs this guy by the neck, and like they both fall into the water, and then the horse just sort of tramples all over them while they're underwater. And I was just like, fucking hell. And like, that's clearly real. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
just see
Yeah.
you pull. Imagine that, just being
Yeah.
pulled
Being
underwater and then
trampled by a
trampled
horse
by
is
a
no
horse.
fun. Yeah.
So it just kind of looks like all that health and safety stuff that we have now has sort of gone. And
Well,
there's
I
moments
thought
like that were
that.
just really good.
I felt
Mm.
I felt like that. When you first meet Percival, and he's like some kid, and he's
Yeah.
trying to be a knight with Lancelot, and he jumps on that rabbit. I thought, oh God, poor
Oh
rabbit.
yeah. Yeah, I
I
did
thought,
think that. Is he actually going to kill that
yeah,
rabbit?
yeah. I thought I'm going to see his wring its neck. I was
Yeah.
you can
He
chop
did.
somebody's arm off, but leave the
He was a
rabbit
bit rough with
alone.
it. Yeah. Exactly. He
Yeah.
was a bit rough with that rabbit. Yeah. You wouldn't have that now. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor little thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that was kind of funny, that thing as well, because he skinned that rabbit, didn't he? And then just left it like literally sort of 6 feet away from Lancelot. And then he's just sitting there under a tree, sort of looks like he's sitting there reading poetry or something. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Just
Fucking
sitting there on his
Lancelot.
own in his full armor.
If he kept his
Sort of,
dick in his pants,
yeah.
do you know what
But
I mean?
and then he's like enticed by this cooking rabbit. He's just like, I'm going to go over there and obviously steal it or something. But it's like 6 feet away from him. Did he not see the guy cooking it and putting it there? It makes no sense. And
Well,
then
he
he's
must have
hiding
had
up
to
the
build a
tree.
fire. They'd have
Yeah.
to, get all the little
I just
stones in a circle, get you,
so So I wasn't
kindling.
sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on there. I thought, is he enticing him with the smell of cooking rabbit, which I imagine is quite
That's what
nice. I've
I
never had
thought.
it,
Yeah.
but then, and because he's hiding up in the tree, and I'm like, is he going to jump out at him? But then, sort of the next scene, he's just sort of like, "Can I come with you?" I just, it's I don't really understand whether it was
The,
like an offering, sort of
yeah.
like, I'll give you this rabbit if I can be your squire or something.
I think there was quite a lot of edit cuts that because like
Maybe.
it did
Oh,
seem to sort of
interesting.
like it was so you've got Arthur as a young lad who's 30 years old, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's a king and everything's great. Do you know what I mean? So there was like there's a they may have, it might have been a longer movie. Also I saw something yesterday where they said that they had to overdub the movie for
Oh,
some
really?
reason because like at a time when it was going to, I don't know, it was like it was when it was come out in the cinemas, and then they were putting it onto VHS or wherever the hell was around that time. Dolby sound was a thing, and it wasn't compatible or something, so they had to redub all the actors' voices over. So, and I
Oh.
didn't notice it was dubbed actually.
There was one moment I sort of noticed something like that, but it
Oh,
was just
oh.
like a loud sequence, but it was like one thing, but I didn't realise the rest of it.
Well, that's what I heard anyway. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much they had to do, or maybe it was just some of it was out of sync, or I don't know. But like, probably
Yeah.
the movie, if they left everything in, it would have been like so long. So like things like the kid with the rabbit didn't make a lot of sense, and things like that. So maybe they just had to edit it. Maybe there was a really long
Yeah.
thing where he has a chat with Lancelot or something, and
I don't
Lancelot
know.
maybe
It's like
says like, prove that you can be a good squire, get me some food or some shit. I don't know.
the movie the version you watched. How long was that movie?
I think it was a
Do
couple
you
of
know?
hours.
See, I watched it and it was, I thought it said 2 hours 20 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that, which seems like a long time. I was literally just sort of reading because you were talking about bits being cut out, and I thought, is there a director's cut? I wonder.
Oh yeah.
But apparently, Jon Boorman said there was original cut was 3 hours,
Mm.
but he said he's never going to release it. Although that was 8 years ago or something like that. But I'm sure the version I watched just now, oh no, that's probably about right, isn't it? 2 hours 20 minutes is about 145 minutes or something like that. 140 minutes.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, he
sorry, I don't
tries
know.
to cover everything though, doesn't he? So he covers Arthur
Oh yeah,
from
it does.
Sword and
Yeah,
Stone all the way till he dies, and and then what happens to the sword afterwards? So he's trying to incorporate all of the the interesting things from the romantic stuff from the,
yeah.
yeah.
Even sort of
And it,
touching on like Uther, the Uther
yeah,
Pendragon bit only briefly with fucking what you call him, Gabriel Byrne,
yeah.
a
I
very
didn't
young Gabriel.
recognize him in that at all.
I did, but I was like, God, he's young. But
Mm,
they're also, it's weird seeing them all so young. But like, I mean, he's quite bad as well. He's quite bad in it, and Uther just comes across as a total dick. And
yeah, yeah,
that whole thing at the beginning, where like Merlin's having to tell him fucking everything because he's bloody useless, and like and then he manages to unite the Cornwall, isn't it? The guy, the sort of King of
yeah.
Cornwall
England and
fellow.
Cornwall, yeah,
Can't, can't remember his name, but and then all of a sudden he says, "Oh, my wife will dance for us," and he's just like, "I must have her," and just fucks everything up, just fucking ruins everything. I must
yeah.
have her,
I
and
mean, do
then they're
men
like,
actually
"For
think
God's
that? Do you know
sake!"
what I mean? Is that like a? I mean, I'm sure men can control themselves, especially battle-hardened bloody kings. You
Yeah,
think they could
it
just
was
like they can fuck
that was
anybody?
ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, they can
but
fuck
especially,
anybody.
but like he literally he hadn't even met her. You know what I mean? He just
Mm.
seen her sort of like doing that dancing, which is basically spinning around.
Spinning
You
around
know
with
what I mean?
the
Spinning
crochet
around, going like
cape.
that with your arms,
Yeah,
flying your hair about, and like, he's just literally like 30 seconds of that, and he's like, "I must have her. You fuck the kingdom," and like he just fucking causes all this bollocks, and
yeah.
like.
What's the
It's
same
just
with
kind of
Lancelot
ridiculous.
as well? It's just like,
Yeah.
really?
Interestingly, that woman Igraine,
Yeah.
that was Jon Boorman's daughter, real life.
Ah, yeah.
And also his son played young Mordred.
Right.
Um,
Oh, that
uh,
creepy one. Yeah. Yeah.
creepy kid, the young version. Weirdly, so that's Charlie Boorman, who's sort of famous for hanging around with Ewan McGregor, as
Oh,
far as
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
He was also in that movie, The Emerald Forest, which was directed by Jon Boorman, which was a
Right.
really good film, actually. If you remember that, the guy has his son kidnapped, and then 8 years later, he's been living with
Oh,
this tribe in South America,
yeah.
and he like
It's
goes
like
back
the
to find
Amazon,
him.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
great
remember
movie.
that.
Same
Yeah. I haven't
director,
seen that for
same.
years.
So yeah, I used to love that movie. Um, but yeah, one of the what was I going to say? Can't remember. What were we talking about before I went
So
off on one about
I
John
don't know.
Borman's
Just
daughter?
yeah. We
Oh,
just
well,
went.
about dancing.
Oh yeah. 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 I must
Uther
have
being an
her.
arse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
You know,
was quite bad. That was bad. It was a bad turn. I must have her.
well, the
Like
thing is, as
shouting.
well, I mean, like, if you'd been on the battlefield and you'd lost a ton of men, you're going to fuck that all up, really, to bang a woman. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, I mean,
exactly.
I don't care if a vagina's made out of gold, but do you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
have some bloody self control, please.
Just sort of, it's just
I
odd.
mean,
But it's
he's
not
a
even
kid.
like, he'd known her for like, 6 months and fallen in love with her or something. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But like, she just turned up and, 30 seconds later, he was just like, I must have her. And he shouts that as
Yeah,
well. Like, everyone could hear, and yet no one knew that was coming. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think
yeah.
he's after your wife, mate.
And it's a
But,
bit of an elaborate way to go and sort of have sex with somebody as well. You've got to get the dragon's breath out. You know, Merlin's got to have a sleep for 9 months
yeah,
afterwards, create some great big smoke bridge thing, changes his face. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I'm sure in the
It,
back in the day, they probably would have just grabbed her, taken her off to the forest, raped the shit out of her, and then just sort of went off. Nice
chop her
one.
head off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Punch her head in. Yeah, with
Yeah.
his metal gloves. Take that.
Really? That's a lot of effort to go to.
Yeah. But I suppose then we wouldn't have that story. But like, because that, I mean, that's
Mm.
interesting. Like when you know, he's Kit Arthur is sort of acting as a squire to his brother, who's obviously not a bastard, who seems like quite a decent chap, and his adopted dad seems like quite a decent chap as
Yeah,
well.
they're nice. Yeah.
He was Hyacinth's husband, wasn't he? In
That's right.
Keeping Up
Yeah.
Appearances.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a
that's
really good
right.
actor. But like he's like, oh, Roy's father and all that, and he's like, I am not your father, and he's like, well, who is my father then? And I was just like, well, don't be upset by it or anything. Do you know what I mean? Straight away, like moving on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, it's like they pulling out the sword from the stone, and then everybody's like, "You're the king," and it's like,
and he kind
"Oh,
of
who's
takes
my
it quite
dad?"
well. Yeah, who's my
Yeah,
dad? What's
who's
going
my dad?
on?
That's more
Yeah.
important than being, you know.
Shall we get drunk now?
Yeah,
It was
yeah. It is.
some.
There is some funny moment, like moments that shouldn't be funny but are.
Yeah,
And then there's sort of like ham-fisted comedic moments that actually shouldn't really be in there either. But
yeah,
saying that, I think out of all of the um, Arthur, mythology and all that kind of stuff, it's probably got the most coherent and full
yeah,
parts of the legend in there, and it must be quite difficult to make sense of it from. I think the original legend was written in Welsh, like Middle Welsh, so it's like completely you can't read it. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like Middle English, where you could probably figure
yeah.
out a couple of letters. Do you know what I mean? But it was written in Welsh. So and the way they used to write those days, translating that to something that's like coherent must be quite. But like I think they did quite a good job. I like the costumes. I like the people in it.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're all a bit hammy. Yeah, Patrick
Uh,
Stewart. Like I've
I
always liked
can't
his
see you now.
work, but when he tried to get the sword out of the stone, and sort of the hammy way, sort of like,
Yeah,
yeah. I was just like, oh,
yeah. They were
dial it
all.
back a bit,
They were all.
Patrick.
I was. Yeah, I was literally just going to say something about that. Yeah, like because like nowadays they would just affix the sword in the stone so that they didn't have to do all that. Because you can see them pretending to lift when it's clearly just not fucking stuck in there. Because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
you know all that sort of thing
Yeah,
like that, and it's
like
just
it
yeah.
literally
But then it's
span round. Yeah, he went
yeah, exactly.
whoa.
Yeah, just let
Yeah,
him go.
I just thought, come
You
on,
got your Mass
Pat.
Effect T-shirt on. If I'd have known, I'd have worn mine.
Oh, yeah, no, yes, my favourite
Yeah,
T-shirt. It's the only one
yeah.
that fits me anymore, without constricting blood supply. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yes, but
I
it's
thought the music as well. Apparently, there's some guy who wrote it, but um, Wagner was in it. You know, the Ring
it was.
Cycle,
I think it was Carmina Burana.
right? Oh, was
Blah
that
blah
one?
blah
That
blah
there, that's the one.
blah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Carl
I
Orff. Yeah.
Carl Orff,
So
right?
that was no, because I noticed that as well, and I was like, I always forget who's done it, and it's actually only written in 1935, so it's not like a
Hmm.
massively old piece of music. But yeah, it's fucking proper. It's in there a couple of times, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's the sort
yeah.
of final battle, which
D-
is uh, King Arthur's trying to sort of take back Camelot, isn't he? Take back his kingdom from Mordred, who's taken over because he's
That's
woken
right.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, after young Percival, who's kind of cool, sort of finds the Grail, doesn't he? You know what I mean? And like Arthur's sitting there fucked, and he just like have a sip of this, and he takes a sip, and he's just like
To
find a
battle.
sword. He's completely yeah, he's completely all right. It's kind of interesting as well because I thought of that bit. I wonder if this because there's a very famous bit in the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers,
Yeah.
where the king of is it the king of Gondor, not the king of Gondor, or the king of
Is it the one
Rohan or
who's under the
something.
spell from
And he's under the spell, yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he wakes up, doesn't he? He sort of like comes back to life, and he's like, "Dark has been my dreams of late," or something like that. And it just kind of reminded me about that. You know, he sort of comes back from close to death pretty
Mm-hmm.
much instantly. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he's all right
Well, it is
now,
a grail. Yeah.
and then he's just like, and then that's all. That's the last you hear of Percival. Percival's just standing there
And I
holding his
thought it was
fucking holy
weird.
grail, like, "Oh, cheers."
Well, actually, Percival gives him the chalice, and then he just sort of curls up in a naked ball by the throne, and then he stays there. He doesn't get up and go,
Yeah,
"Oh, nice one, you look a lot better," kind of thing.
yeah.
He's in a ball by the
He's probably
throne.
had enough at that point. So
Yeah,
like 10 years I've been doing this
yeah,
because he's out there for
yeah.
ten
That kind of
years, isn't he? Stuff
sucks.
like
Yeah,
that. But he actually kind of saves the whole day, doesn't he?
of
He
course
sort
he
of like
does. Yeah,
saves everything.
yeah.
Sort of like so. Yeah, good old. I actually remember that from from the first time I saw it. I remember that because I remember him seeing the Grail. Because you're like, what's happening here? Where are they?
Mm,
What's this drawbridge? Who the fuck is talking? Is it
mm,
God?
mm,
Where is he? And then all of a sudden he's just transported back. So it's just like some kind of, it's not a place you can find in the kingdom. It's some kind of
mm.
internal realm.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? It's just like some sort of, combination of thoughts and suffering you have to go through, and all of a sudden to make you sort of look inwards to that place. It's kind of interesting.
yeah.
I do remember that. But yeah, he's sort of, yeah.
I think it's worth a watch, definitely. I think
Yeah.
I'm glad I watched it. I
Like you
was
say,
kind
I
of
thought it
dreading it
was
because you think, oh God, it's from
from the
early
80s.
'80s or whatever, so it's going to be. And there is like you say, there's loads of hammy bits in it, and like a couple of unexpected comedic moments. But yeah, it's totally worth it, and I think like on the whole, it really sort of puts the story across in a good way.
Yeah,
Oh well,
I,
really, the
I
bit I
thought it was
really
great. Yeah.
liked is when he used the power of he called on the power of Excalibur to beat Lancelot, and then he was like really ashamed. I think that's the best bit of acting in the whole thing. And he was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
my vanity, I'm nothing." Do you know what I mean? Blah blah blah, and it was really good actually. That bit.
yeah. I've forgotten about that bit actually because like basically.
He breaks
he
the
can't.
sword.
Yeah, he can't
Yeah.
beat Lancelot. It just can't be done. So yeah, like you say, he sort of abuses the power Excalibur, but then he just goes, "I've broken this thing," and then he just goes like that, just chucks the rest of it away. And I was like, you could probably mend that, man. You know what I mean? But he just chucks it. Oh right, that's it then. Is it? Just fucking give up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but no, that was a cool bit as well.
Mm.
Did like that.
Yeah, it's got a lot to recommend it actually. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I thought it was strange. I was kind of like hooked throughout the whole thing, and it's weird because I got it the other day. I was meant to watch it the other night, and I put it on, and I was just quickly skipping through to make sure it was to see how long it was and stuff. And every bit I saw, I was like, oh god, this is going to be like really bad, but it
Yeah,
isn't. Because like I'm thinking it's going to be like fucking Hawk the Slayer or something, or bloody
yeah, or
Krull or something. You
Beastmaster
know
or
what I mean? I
something.
was just like,
Yeah. Oh,
I
Kroll's
don't think I
horrible
could
as
sit.
well.
I don't think I could sit through any of those because I used to love those things.
I saw
I was
Kroll at
like,
the pictures.
fucking Liam Neeson was in that as well.
Oh
As
shit,
a
so he was.
Cyclops. Yeah. Was it? No, was
Yeah.
he a Cyclops?
No,
No, he
no, I
was
think
some.
he was
He
like
was
one of
someone
the.
else.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a
Yeah.
psychic. He was one of the,
Oh
angered
Christ, we're
on.
gonna have to watch fucking Krull now,
Kroll.
aren't
Do
we?
Kroll next.
Right.
Kroll. It's got that Lisa Anthony in it as well.
Lisa Anthony, she was gorgeous. I used
Yeah.
to love her back then. Oh fucking hell, we're
I
gonna
always thought
watch
she was a
Krull,
bit
really?
wet.
Oh,
No,
she's
she.
terribly wet, yeah. But she
Yeah,
was just very pretty. But that's
yeah.
really about it. Sorry, Lisa
Who
Anthony.
was the guy
She
in
looked
it?
like a
Who?
massive cokehead.
Yeah, she totally turned into a massive cokehead. I think part of her
Yeah,
nose nearly collapsed as well at some point. She was
Krull.
hoovering that shit up. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll
but
do Kroll
could probably
next.
get done for libel by saying that or whatever.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, or
Yeah.
slander.
Well,
But
I think
Krull.
that's
Well,
all I've got really to say about Dublichuff,
I'm just trying to.
Excalibur.
I don't know. It was sort of.
It's worth a watch. If you
Yeah, I kind of.
if you like Arthurian legends,
I think I mean, even though the fact it is, I think it's dated pretty well. I was kind
mm,
of surprised as to how sort of good it was. I mean, there's not that many special effects in it, which is great, right? Actually, um, and you can see how a lot of they could have made all the battle scenes proper, but that, again, that's not real life if you're wearing metal armor. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
It
yeah.
is more sort of like whoever gets the first hit in basically wins. You know
Mm,
what I mean? It's
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. It's not like sort of ha ha
Yeah, because you're
sort of
not going
stuff.
to be able to stab a sword through plate
Yeah,
armor. It's
do you
just
know what
not
I
going
mean?
to
Or even
happen.
like getting stabbed a couple of times and then you can fight on. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
if you get hit with a mace or stabbed once, you're fucked. You've
yeah,
lost. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And so they're all really slow and clunky, and it's kind of really thought it sort of added to the whole thing. Um,
yeah. It was more
we,
realistic than them doing like
yeah,
cartwheels and like.
and they found some excellent sort of places, all the sort of woodland and that. The whole thing was filmed in Ireland, believe it or not, but
Mm,
in different places in Ireland. But they found like very very old sort of forests. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, like
You can
ancient
see it's
forest.
ancient
Yeah,
forests because you can tell because even the
because there's
trees are fucking
moss and
covered in shit.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like
liching.
they
Do
just
you say
found some
liching
kind
or
of.
liking?
I don't know. I always thought it was lichen.
Yeah, I think it's liching. I think liking's American.
Lichen, mate. Yeah, it's
Mm.
weird, isn't it? Just think of
But they did look
werewolves.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that as well. Like the old roots and everything's covered in moss
yeah,
and yeah, yeah.
and but
I
yeah,
thought
there's no
that.
sort of. There's very little, there's no special effect. I mean, there's lighting effects. Every time Excalibur is on screen, there's someone shining a green torch at it. You can, and but it kind of works. It looks
It does,
great. And even
yeah,
with the sort of
yeah.
80s sort of film stock that they used to use, it just
Mm,
looks really cool. I just
mm.
thought it was great. And they
I
do
even
sort of
like
give,
Merlin's hat, his skull
yeah,
cap thing he's wearing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He was
But
good. I think he shines in that actually. I think the guy who played Arthur was good. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and all the thespians. I mean, they're doing the best, but like you say, it's just a
yeah.
bit hammy. But that's
It,
okay.
it,
You
it,
can forgive him for it because you know
I
how they
think,
turn out
yeah.
later.
I think that sort of put me off, but I think when I watched it the first time when I was a kid, I think that was it. I wasn't. Who are these fucking people? Because it really is, sort of who's who on the stage in 1980.
Mm,
But I think it's kind of. I think that really added something to it. It'd be interesting to see if they did. They don't really do movies like that now, do they? Where
mm,
they get a bunch of stage actors to do it. It brings across the. I mean, it's not stilted. Stilted is not the right word,
mm.
but it's just the extra hammy,
It's a little bit,
But
yeah,
but
it's a little bit over the top, a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, just a little bit. But I think it sort of it adds to it, makes it sort of it adds to that suspension of disbelief.
Mm,
There's not so much the point where I was going, oh, well, they'd never do that. It's just it's a story. They
mm,
clearly are. Um, I thought that was great. There's another bit actually. This was sort of interesting to me. So Merlin is talking to he's talking to Arthur, and they're talking about what is the greatest attribute of a knight, and like sort of, and at this point, fucking Lancelot and Sherry Lungi are sort of like throwing sort of love daggers at each other, like, you know what I mean? It's like nothing's
mm,
happened yet, but then they fucking know they're in trouble.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? And stuff. And Merlin says it's the truth. He
mm,
says being true is the greatest aspect, and Lancelot's just like, oh fuck, because they're keeping this secret, aren't they?
mm,
Sort
mm,
of.
mm.
And but then Merlin says, when a man lies, he murders some part of the world. And
Yeah.
at that point, I went pause, and I paused the movie, and I was like, that's from Metallica, right?
No.
And I'm like, there's a song by Metallica called "To Live Is to Die," and it's a fucking really great song. I think it could be off "Justice for All,"
Right.
which is one of the first sort of Metallica album I really enjoyed, even though it's not their most supposedly the best.
Famous.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but there's a bit where there's a spoken word bit in it, and the guy and James Hetfield is singing, "When a man lies, he murders some part of the world."
Mm.
Was These are the pale deaths that men miscall their lives, and I was just like, well, they must have got that from Excalibur. So
Oh, they're
then I
probably well
fucking
into that. Yeah. I mean,
well,
yeah.
this whole thing with sort of heavy, well, at least with British heavy metal, that they're very influenced by this
Yeah.
sort of
Iron
old
Maiden.
Arthurian shit. Iron
Yeah.
Maiden,
Yeah.
the more
Led
so than anybody
Zeppelin.
else.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, the sort of Vikings, and there's all this kind of thing. So I had a quick Google on that, and so they did sort of take that from Excalibur, but the line itself comes from a poem or by a German hymn writer in sort of the 17th century who wrote that thing.
Mm.
Um, but also in the Metallica song, they added another line to it, which was written by Cliff Burton, the Metallica's bass player,
Ah.
who died. But yeah, it was really really strange. I was like, yeah, as soon as he said it, when a man lies, I was like, that's Metallica. But yeah, it just goes to show that this movie has influence. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
apparently,
Totally.
it was the
I think it's
biggest
known
movie
as a
out.
classic. I mean, like,
Yeah, I think it
yeah.
was an event. I think it was a big event at the time as well, because like it was a
Yeah.
huge production, which you can tell because there's fucking thousands of thousands, hundreds of people in it. You just don't see things like that. Plus all the armor and the horses and shit. There's a lot. Almost everyone in England can ride a horse in the 70s, in the 80s. Do you
Oh,
think
I was actually
every
quite
single
impressed
fucking
by their
actor is? Yeah,
horsemanship. Yeah, everyone's
yeah.
pretty good on the horse.
But
Yeah.
all the stage actors. I mean, all the toffs. You think, well, of course they can all ride fucking horses, but like Arthur can ride a bloody horse. He's probably tough as well. But they're all like, I mean, how many people do you know can ride a horse? I can't.
No,
Never even
no
been
one.
this close to a horse.
No, well, it costs money to keep a horse, doesn't it? It
Well,
costs
exactly. That's the thing. None
stables,
of us,
upkeep,
yeah, none of us lot can
food, all
ride a
that.
horse. But yeah, like every single actor, they don't have doubles. None of them have got stunt doubles in.
No, not in
It's
that
like
one.
fucking Patrick Stewart leaping around on his horse, fucking loads, and whip it fucking with his sword
Great,
above his head while he's doing it.
great big sword. Yeah,
Wesley, all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Shut up,
Wesley.
Wesley. Horsey sex, Wesley. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's just like um, another thing as well. Did you know Morgana Le Fay the Le Fay part means fairy, as in the
Yeah,
Fay.
I found
I
that
didn't
out.
know that.
I think probably this morning. I had a look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because that's from the French um, romantic uh,
yeah.
stuff. So
It's
yeah,
strange. I never really understood where that name came from, and it's Morgan the
okay.
Fay, Morgan the fairy. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, fairies. So that means Merlin is sort of like these magical people. Yeah, so it kind of
yeah. It's
makes
like
sense. Like
otherworldly. Yeah, not
yeah,
human. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
spirit
good. It's
people.
good. It's worth a watch. Doing Crawl
Yeah,
next.
oh
Oh,
yeah. I
we don't
mean,
have to.
no.
It's not.
Well, let's put it
Just because
on.
we
We'll put it on
mentioned
the
it.
list. But
I'll put
yeah,
it on the
no, that's the
list.
thing.
Yeah,
It would be interesting, but I'm not. That's going to be a difficult one to sit through, I think.
yeah.
Because
How about we do like a series? We could do Dresden Files, or we could do like
I'm not sure I can sit through that either. I didn't really
no.
like it.
Can
Should
you
we
cut
talk
all
about
this?
this now?
What now?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I've kind of said all I need to say about Excalibur.
Oh, right. I'll
How
see
have
you next
you?
Saturday then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, have you got more to say? Because I think I pretty much
Well,
said it now.
uh,
Well, I can sit. We can talk tomorrow. Are you doing anything tomorrow morning?
that I might. No, I don't think so.
Would you want to do something tomorrow, or do you want to do it next
Yeah,
week? Yeah.
yeah, we'll do so tomorrow. I'm not sure I'll get to Krull tomorrow, but
No.
by today, because I got.
Trying to think what we could do.
But we can discuss what to watch for next Saturday. Tomorrow we can
Mm,
talk about something else.
yeah.
I'm
All
sure
right then.
everyone's interested to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like cut it out this time rather than just leaving it in.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. We should sort of end it and then talk about what we're going to do. But
All right. Well,
never
we'll end
mind.
it then, and
Yeah,
then we'll talk about what we're going to do.
yeah. Okay. How do we
Oh,
do
did
it?
you have more to say?
But no, I don't know. I just thought we are going to sort of like say that's us done,
All right. Yeah.
or we
Okay.
because it's
That's
just going to
just
look
done.
weird now. If I cut it out and then also, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter. We're still figuring it out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think probably for the future ones we need to sort of like, do you know what I mean? Sort of finish off and then sort of discuss what we're going to do with the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing today.
No, me either. Or we'll text each other later on, and then we can figure something out. If
Yeah,
it's not tomorrow, we can do it next Saturday or something.
yeah, exactly. I
Um,
will sort of try and see if I can find Krull.
yeah.
What else did we talk about as well? Beastmaster. So I'm not sitting through Beastmaster.
No, I couldn't. I
Um,
don't think I could. I think you've got to be a certain age
I
to
think,
deal with that.
yeah, it's sort of like this. I'm just sort of still kind of into the sword and sorcery thing now. Because it's like
Yeah.
it was actually just a really really cool.
Well, what else can we
Sort of quite a
watch?
childhood sort of movie. Like I said, I used to read all the stories years ago when I was a kid.
I
But
don't really fancy watching The Hobbit either. Or anything. Yeah. I
see,
don't know.
I haven't seen. The Hobbit. They made 3 movies of the Hobbit, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't think I've even seen the last one because I just can't. I don't know. I just can't. First of all, I can't get over the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch is a dragon, and it's like
Oh,
I
yeah.
shouldn't know that. I think that's one of these things they hype up all these facts before you even see the movie, and
It's,
it just kind of
yeah.
spoils it for you. You know what I mean? I'd rather not know who the fucking
I,
people
I,
are.
I saw the first. Well, I didn't watch the whole first one. I got to the bit where they were like in barrels on a
Yeah,
river, and I just thought this is just shit. So
I
I
think they
didn't
just
watch
take too.
anymore.
Yeah, they
It
take
was
too many liberties with the story.
uh,
It's just.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I
Yeah.
am actually going to be one of those guys now who's just like it's not true to the book.
Well, it
It's just
really
I don't.
isn't.
No,
Yeah.
I mean the barrel stuff is in the book, and it's actually one of the best bits. It's when
Oh,
they
was it? I
escape
can't
from they.
remember.
It's
Uh,
they escape from a prison and they end up sneaking in these barrels,
mm,
and they're almost fucking dying, but they end up going back down to the city on the water. I can't remember where. It's very close to their end
Yeah,
destination.
yeah, yeah.
I think in the movie, Stephen Fry's in it. Doesn't make any sense. There's a whole lot of stuff there with Stephen Fry that isn't in the book. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm,
Obviously Legolas isn't in the fucking Hobbit.
no,
He's quite a major character in the movies. He's just not in it.
no.
They literally just put him in for fucking what reason? I've no idea.
Mm,
Um, I would be quite interested in watching them again, but because Martin Freeman's pretty good, I think, as
yeah.
Bilbo. But like
It's like 9 hours though, chicken.
it is
What?
like
Okay.
9 hours, and I wasn't, and
I'm trying
I
to
mean,
think
like
of
the
some other
first one was,
swords.
yeah,
Go on.
the Hobbit, the Fellowship of the Ring, it's drawn out, but it is, a wonderful start to the book.
Mm,
But I think it could have been done a lot better. That whole thing, it shouldn't have been 3 movies.
no.
You could maybe do 2 movies because it is quite long, but
What,
adding
The
all that
Hobbit?
shit in, yeah, but not
I
three
don't know. I
movies.
reckon you could easily read it within 9 hours. To be honest,
I mean, a
it's
lot
like
does
300
happen in it,
pages,
but
isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. A lot happens in it, but it's yeah, I don't know. But that was just clearly, and it was strange because the Lord of the Rings
Mm.
3 movies he made were just staggeringly good,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
changed the way they do that sort of movie and stuff like that. And then I just done it, and just confused why he did that with the Hobbit. Is it purely a cash grab?
It was a cash grab.
Why? What? Why? So yeah, I don't know. I would be interested in.
Oh,
I
we
think I
we
might
could
have
do
actually.
Hellboy. That's sort of sword and sorcery, sort of.
What, the
But
new one? Have you seen the new one?
no.
Have you not seen it yet? Oh, you should watch the new one. Watch the new
Yeah.
version of Hellboy. Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Hellboy.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
With I can't remember the guy's name. He's the same guy who was in Black Widow as
I just
Scarlett
so
Johansson's dad.
I really like the first two. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm
but
gonna
it's
have to.
interesting because like yeah they they wanted to remake it, which we were like why
Mm.
because Guillermo del Toro wanted to make Hellboy 3, but they apparently couldn't get the money together. Like his studios just weren't having it, and he had quite a cool. And it would have been great because he did the second one. I don't think he directed the first one, or maybe he did. I don't
I
think
think
he
you did
did.
both. I'm pretty sure you did
Did he?
both.
Maybe. Interesting, but and Ron Perlman, was quite brilliant, obviously, and
He
I
was
think
made
people
for that
wanted,
role.
yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted him back as Hellboy for the remake, but he said he wasn't approached and that sort of thing. So there was a lot of like the reception for the new one is a bit weird,
Mm.
but it's worth a watch.
I'll
It
give it a
seemed,
go.
I've actually seen it twice and I still can't really remember what happens. So is it worth a watch? I think you have to watch it if you haven't seen it.
Okay. All right then. Okay.
Um, I wonder if they'll make a second one of that. I don't know. But yeah, it's a
Mm.
shame that
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro didn't make his sort of third
Yeah.
movie, and
I
it'll
just
never happen now. I think.
no. It's a real shame. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the combination of them and Ron Perlman and him. Yeah, brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah.
The first one. I mean, the second one is much sort of grander in scale and that, but the first one was just badass. It was totally came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
story, it was just like, mate, I mean, it came from a comic book, obviously, but
Mm.
which I've never read, but it just sort of totally. It was just like, what the hell is this? Because it was funny as well, It was
Yeah.
sort of,
Yeah.
it was funny, but it was magic. It was magic. It was fighting. It had just sort of all these kind of crazy bits in it.
Mm.
I thought it was really, really, really good. Perhaps I might
Yeah.
watch Hellboy 2, and the new Hellboy.
Why not?
Why not?
Comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, comparisons. I like the fish guy as well.
I do. Yeah. Ape Sapien.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
yeah.
See you later.
See ya. See you later.